I will never not be angry about the birth experience I had with my third child because it was awful. But your birth doesn't define you. Your birth story doesn't define you. You get to choose how you define yourself. Birth is a non-linear autobiographical dance work that tells the story of my process of becoming a mother, how my babies were born, and how that affected me as an individual. I have 4 children. My oldest is almost 10 and my youngest is almost 1. And my first 3 babies were not born how I envisioned my children coming. They were all cesarean births. And my first 2 were necessary cesareans though. They needed to be born how and when they were born. My third one, however, I was bullied into a C-section, another C-section, and the result was a lot harder recovery and then a really extreme morbid postpartum depression. And along that path I found support groups. I went to therapy. I did every new age thing that I could think of. But about a year into my recovery, I realized that wasn't enough and that I needed to make something to share my experience with others and help other people who had similar experiences know that they weren't alone. And so as a dancer, I decided I'm gonna make a dance about this. And I was really afraid to do it. I didn't think that I would find anyone, any audience at all. And I didn't think that I would be able to find any dancers who would dance for me at all. It's a weird topic.
When I was working with Sarah through her pregnancy, she was at the same time choreographing this piece, Birth, and I watched as she developed it and got more excited about it, and watched that creation of this dance piece actually help her heal from her previous birth experiences.
Ready, go.
There was a lot of hours pregnant. She spent very pregnant dancing and choreographing and dealing with other pregnant dancers' issues and impromptu births and all kinds of stuff.
I have 4 kids and each of them had a different birth adventure. And when I got pregnant with Spencer, shortly after I found out I was pregnant, Sarah asked me to be part of the birth piece that she was creating. And it was very empowering for me, feeling like, hey, my body can do this. And so then, when it was time for him to arrive, or rather before it was time for him to arrive, my body decided to go rogue on me and have really high blood pressure and need to do an emergency cesarean again. But the fact that I had been through this creative process with Sarah and the other cast members, there were various aspects of the piece that were a great strength to me in that time. I'm Melissa.
I'm DNA. I'm Lisa. I'm Megan.
Being a birth worker, I see the process that was demonstrated in the piece. The process of some women suffering and some women feeling like they do not have their birth plan honored or even themselves respected.
I'm seeing it and going, yeah, that happened to me, and yeah, that happened to me, and I remember when that happened too. So, you know, that's where it speaks, is it brings us through all the parts, the unpredictability of birth, the fear of the unknown, the joy, the powerfulness that women can have within themselves, and it brings us through this entire journey.
I'm not mad at the medical community. I'm not mad at any one individual. I don't believe that C-sections are the big bad wolf, and I don't believe that vaginal births are like a person's salvation. I know that trauma can come from either kind of birth, and I know that empowerment can come from either kind of birth. But the individual involved, specifically the mother giving birth, but also the child being born or children being born, and the families that they're born into need to have a say. They need to be part of the dialogue about how this is going to happen. It's impossible for me to believe that 1 in 3 babies has to be born by major abdominal surgery, and those are the statistics. And so I think that we have the job as mamas, as partners, As caregivers, we have a job to change those statistics. We have a job to educate and empower women and families.
I think this piece is a really good starting point to give people a chance to see inside somewhat what it feels like to be in that space. To then start that conversation of, okay, how can we make this better? How can we make this different? How can we honor the beautiful process that birth is and can be?
I would love for just anyone who sees it or hears about it to be able to see that whatever you are experiencing, because we all experience hard things, whatever hard thing you go through, that you have the power to change your story. And I don't know how this story is going to end, but I know that I'm going to be the warrior hero. I already am. I want people to feel that way, that they are the warrior hero of their own lives.
Birth is sacred. It is time to reclaim birth. The way we birth matters. The way we are treated while both pregnant and birthing matters. It matters for babies. It matters for mamas. It mattered for Nora. It mattered for me.